Alright guys, so welcome back to Gamer Today. Today we're going to be talking about a game called Path of Exile. It's on the PS4 now. This game originally released, I believe, in 2013 on the PC, of course. But now that it's on consoles, I don't know if it's on the Xbox yet, but I do know it's on PS4. What you're seeing here is based on the PS4 Pro, but I'm sure it'll look the same on a PS4 as well. You can generalize this game in many ways. A lot of people like to say it's an action role-playing game with a lot of hacking slash elements. So there is that, of course it is. But here's the deal that's kind of weird about this game. The currency in this game is mostly scrolls and different items. It's not like a coin currency, and that's what makes this game kind of weird. The fact is, when you kill something, you don't get coins, you don't get rubies or anything like that, you just get loot. And loot, even whether it's a scroll or whether it's loot itself, because all these things have their own purpose other than just being currency. They're also useful in different ways. And understand, guys, I'm not going to go over every single specific detail about this game, so if you guys want to see a more intricate review of this game, please let me know down below, and I'll go over each individual feature more directly, especially if you guys like the game and just get lost on different concepts of the game. So anyways, you might notice I'm actually rocking a pretty special little skin right there. I've got a little fire frog and I've got a helmet full of fire, basically, a skull fire. So it's pretty darn cool. This is for PlayStation Plus members right now for free, and you guys can actually download this. I'm going to actually make a separate video showing you guys how to do that yourself. So in case you want to look a little bit more interesting early game with any class, you can actually do that. So again, I'm being the archer class. That brings me to my first point. There's many different classes in this game. You can do everything from melee to long range, like, you know, whether it's a mage, an archer, there's a guy with a big hammer, two-handed weapon wielders, you know, there's so many different types of classes out there. There's quite a few. I think it's 9 classes, I could be wrong, but there's a lot of people to choose from in this game. You go by and basically do little mini quests and do main quests. Along the way, you find different things that you might have to do or that you might want to do to get more rewards, and basically you just travel the land and kill almost everything you see. But while this game is a hack and slash, there's lots of intricacies and lots of little, like, different elements you need to get aware of, especially your passives and what you need to actually get the better loot and better armor. This game is all about loot, guys. That's something you guys gotta keep in mind. It's a loot grinding game. If you played a game like Trove or something along the lines like that, because I know a lot of my audience is younger but also kind of in their 20s, so this would be like a game kind of like that in a way. It depends how you look at it, but basically the game is focused on loot and grinding. Killing everything only does level you up, you know, and leveling up in this game is not super quick, to be honest with you guys. You'll be killing many guys before you end up basically leveling up your first time. There's also these path points or waypoints, I forget what they're called, but anyways, they're these little blue things on the ground, and once you light them up, that also gives you a lot of XP. And now this is your fast travel system in the game. This allows you to get to places faster, and that's one of the greatest parts about it, because you will be going quite some distance in these like maze-like Metromania kind of things, or Metroidmania I should say, type, you know, worlds where it's like not everything's just a straight line. When you're in the map, you know, obviously the farther you go, you progress the map and you can see more of where you're at. But when you first go to a new area, you don't know anything about the area. You're basically completing the map as you go along. So that's kind of cool. And again, you're going to find tons and tons of loot, especially as you're killing different bosses of the world. Yeah, there's actually mini bosses in every little world, and sometimes there's more than one. Sometimes it's just extremely strong enemies as well. And sometimes if you run across in this game and just keep running and running and running, you're going to get like 20 or 30 different people trying to kill you at one time. So it's better to go slowly through each area until you can actually handle a lot of the enemies in one time. But if you get later in the game and you have better loot and you want to grind the smaller levels, or the levels that were previously with the lower level enemies, go and run across everybody and just start blowing everybody away. The thing to remember about this is if you're trying to level grind or level up in this game, because a lot of people who play these games love to level grind, I know I do, you want to make sure that your level is kind of within whatever the monster levels are, meaning if the monster level is too low and you're a level higher than that, too high, you're not going to be getting a lot of XP for your time. It might make more sense to actually go to a slightly less harder world than the level of your character, much like Trove or a lot of these other MMORPGs. This game really is like an MMORPG in the sense that you can trade, there's lots of different things that can go on. Now, multiplayer wise, or being in a party with someone, I actually haven't gotten to try that out yet, so I do want to try that eventually, of course, because that would make this game even more fun. As a solo experience though, that's what I'm reviewing this game based on right now. It is very good, honestly. The fact that I can trade with other players is cool, although no one's wanted to trade with me yet, but it is pretty darn cool, the fact that it's there in the first place. Now again, loot grinding is very very specific. This game is very customizable in the sense that your character is always going to be very unique to your playstyle if you pick the right way. Now, everyone's going to have their own loot that they need, and you're never going to know what someone else might need. So if you're looking for a trade, obviously make sure to get a lot of loot that's higher end gear. But you also might come across someone who doesn't need that higher end gear. But even though it's good gear, it may not be for that character's class. So each class has different gear that they can use. So you're going to find a lot of stuff that you can't actually use. So you might want to actually bring that back and either go to a trader and actually sell it to them, or find someone in the world who may be willing to buy it for a little bit cheaper, because it might be cheaper on them than buying it from the store, or the store might not have it. So you might want to consider that first. And if you do not have any idea what you're really doing with that, if you don't know what you really want, what you don't want, and you can afford to not buy some scrolls, because early game you're going to want to basically trade in everything until you level up, because you're going to need certain powers, certain scrolls and stuff, and you're going to want to do that. But what I'm saying is you can go to the chest and put everything in the chest that you think may be something higher value later on that you might not know what to do with just yet. Put it in the chest. You get like, I think, 8 pages of the chest, and that's free. So you don't have to spend money to have that chest space, which is great about this game. A lot of games, even including Trove, make you pay for storage. This game doesn't. Which brings me to another point. How does this game actually make money? Because it's a free-to-play title. Well, it's basically all cosmetics, which is what you'd probably want. Mostly skins and things like that. For PlayStation Plus members, like I said, the costume I'm wearing is actually currently free. Now, I'm sure that there's other things that are very similar in the store that you could buy, and you might even be able to buy these things later on once that that PlayStation Plus thing is gone. I almost said Battle Pass. Look at this. Too many Battle Royale games, I tell you. But that brings me to another good point. If you play a lot of Battle Royale games and you're kind of getting sick of them and you need something as a breakaway game, you know, something to relax with, this might be a good title to consider. I mean, honestly, this game has a lot to offer, and it really is a good experience. Overall, I've got no complaints with this game. I will say these shattered memory parts are so difficult. If you come across these, which you will, they are very, very difficult. I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing in this world. I don't think it's supposed to be killing everyone. I think they're supposed to find something, but I have not been able to get through these without dying every time. So I'm going to have to basically figure this out and eventually go back to it. But these are super duper hard, even from the very beginning of the game. So that's something to consider as well. There's a lot to learn, a lot to basically practice and get better at as well. This game is not a cakewalk by any means. It can be quite difficult at, you know, random times. The difficulty spikes are quite intense sometimes, and you can go to an area and walk a little too far and find out that you've aggravated like 3 or 4 different camps of people. So now you've got monsters of all types, people of all types, and all these things coming at you. So you definitely want to make sure you're walking a bit slower, because if you walk too fast and you're not prepared, you will die. Anyways, another thing that comes across is all the loot. Like I said, there's a ton of loot. It can be a grind when you can only carry so much. And the thing is, there's so much loot in this game that sometimes it's tricky to know what you do and don't need. So there's no disenchanting of loot or anything like that. So you want to keep that in mind, that you just want to keep what you think is most valuable to you. Whether you're trying to trade with someone, sell to the store, or whether you're trying to actually get something for yourself to keep for later. And knowing all of these elements, that'll kind of give you an idea what you really need to be grinding for. And so when you find loot on the ground, you'll actually know what you're really looking for. And plus, a lot of the loot will be repetitive at times, but you will find something new every now and again that you haven't come across. And you're like, what is this? And what does it do? Can I use it? Because here's the deal, guys. Certain stats basically in the game allow you to use certain gear. You need to be certain amount of intelligence, dexterity, strength, certain speed limit to use certain types of gear. And that's what can get kind of tricky, because if you use your skill tree, yes, there's a skill tree, guys, and you don't balance it out, basically, it's going to be kind of difficult later on. But you might want to go for some attack speed or strength early game anyway, depending on who you're being and obviously what class you are, because it might be easy to take on some of those bigger enemies. But then you might not also have as good a protection, because you won't be able to use certain types of like armor or certain types of gloves, etc. You know, whatever it might be, there might be something that you can't use because of that choice. And that's where this game is so great. It has a balancing act. There's just so much to go on there. There's so much to learn, so much to think about, and that's what makes it fun. But at the same time, it's kind of a casual yet hardcore game, if that makes any sense in itself. It's relaxing to a degree. But going across this, guys, it's a beautiful game for the genre that it's in, for the art style of the top-down view. It is a very breathtaking game. I think it's a great-looking game. I don't know when this game exactly came out. I believe it was 2013, guys. I could be wrong. But what I do know is this game looks very current to today's standards with these style of games. This top-down game looks beautiful, and I have no complaints playing this on a 60-inch screen. So I don't know. Whatever you guys are playing this on, it's going to look fantastic, though. And even when I've zoomed in on the image, it still looks good. So that's a pretty good sign right there. I like what I see, and I think it's a great game. Now, enemy types are very varied. You might be fighting one enemy type 1 minute, another enemy type the next minute, or all of it at the same time. And there could be so many different enemy types you have no idea. And different enemies have different fight styles. They're not the same. They also drop different variations of loot. They also have different commonalities, things that they do very similar from each other. But then there's also stronger versions of the same enemy too. So you are going to get tons of different things. And there's tons of different bosses and etc. There's just too much to say in this one video, to be honest with you guys. This game is very, very hectic at times, but a lot of fun at the same time. And placing your jewels or gems or whatever it might be called on your amulets is pretty interesting, guys. And I find it very fun because you can always customize and basically get new abilities to your weapons. As you guys see, currently I have 4. When I started this game I only had 1. So it's pretty fun to actually get new stuff. And again, you could always change these out as you earn more things. So there's different things to that too. Your playstyle is very dependent on what you want. So again, don't think, oh, this is the only way the game is. No, when you play it, it's really customizable, guys. So if you don't like the way this playstyle looks, there's so many different classes, so many different playstyles, so many different weapons, so many different powers. It really doesn't get old that fast, honestly. It's a lot of fun. I think you guys will enjoy it. But anyways, guys, I told you I'm not going to cover every single thing in this video. If you guys want to see more content of this game, please let me know down in the comment section down below. And if you did like the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.